I remember getting a letter from a guy he sent his survey back and he said, I sit here in this windowless tomb. He said, but I'm okay. I've been here 37 years. And I just broke down crying, because I can't imagine someone being in a 6x10 room out for a half an hour, if they're lucky, a day, and being there for 37 years. And I was just wondering, what could he have possibly done, for them to keep him in there for 37 years.
The Pelican Bay hunger strike is about resisting torture and intimidation by the prison administration in California. I believe it relates to the history of prison resistance as people get tired and frustrated and needing to coordinate and come together to stop inhumane conditions.
The hunger strike is about I won't even say conditions of confinement. I'll say the torture that the men in the segregated and secured housing units are going through in Pelican Bay and in Corcoran and other prisons.
People are doing this they're desperate. They want to be able to be treated as human beings, but you cannot be treated as a human being inside a prison.
In order to make more money or whatever it is they're doing. Now, food is an issue. In some of these prisons in California, they're feeding people less than 1,000 calories a day. The medical care is horrendous.
These isolation units are isolation units within the isolation unit.
Prisoners to get out of the chute that are quote unquote gang related, which could mean you talked to someone who was perceived as a gang member, or you had a tattoo they thought was gang related. One thing they tell them is to get out of the chute that they need to debrief, which means they need to go and tell the CDC, our staff, everything they know or can think about or whatever about whoever else is in there in order to get to the main yard themselves.
I think that first of all, you have to look at the history of prisons and the overall public view, which usually is provided to them by the media about prisoners, the sentiment about prisoners, almost like, prisons being a garbage can in society.
You can go all the way back in California, specifically to the 70s. And the whole case around George Jackson and all that stuff started in Soledad. It was around torture, specifically aimed at the black prisoners, because the black prisoners were becoming politicized. A month after George Jackson was murdered came Attica, which was a very well organized strike. After that, there were many, many, many what were classified as riots in American prisons. Lots, more than we'll ever know about. Because prisoners saw that as a way to change their conditions.
What the hunger strike becomes is a last resort. When you go through the administration through petitions and you're ignored, when you go through the criminal justice system and are ignored.
Some of the men said they're prepared to die this time, because they feel like they're being killed slowly anyway. So
They've chosen the only weapon that they can use at their disposal, and that's at themselves.
At some point, prisoners say no more. So I believe this Pelican Bay hunger strike is a testament to no more torture.
You have to think about, when is enough enough?
Heard the brothers from Georgia unite all races, crossing religious and political lines to come together in Georgia to scream about these same atrocities that's taking place in Pelican Bay, Lucasville, where these prisoners was on prisoners in Lucasville was on death row, or on death row, and all they was asking was to be treated like human beings and have some of the just basic amenities.
What the people can do to help these people is raise the voice. Where is amplifying the voice? And where is amplifying the fact that they're saying help?
It's about exposure. It's about exposure. It's about media. It's about to get people to talk about it. It's just like any issue.
Sign on to the demands. Sign on to the petitions. Use Facebook. Use Twitter. Use whatever you have at your disposal, whatever tools you have to help amplify the voice.
Family members, they need to write letters, make phone calls to their legislators. They need to participate in rallies or protests. They need to call the warden or prison officials and constantly ask about their loved ones, and they just need to be involved.
We have to agitate. We have to be able to be organized. So we have to come together. I would like for us, society, to start looking at alternatives to incarceration in prisons.
And we need a movement that can be united and respectful of each other and the people that it's supposed to be supporting. And we can't do that if we don't practice.
And as people continue to protest and say no more and fight and ask for assistance on the outside, then more people will know that the conditions that people live under inside is not acceptable.